How are you, sir? Habari yako? Mr. President.
Habari yako?
How are you?
Salama kabisa.
Melala. Tuko salama. Nimewachelewesha kidogo. Mr. President, how are you?
Good, my friend.
Bwana Goma.
Opérant dans l'est de la région.
As East African community, as we host this important
processus de paix ya Nairobi chini ya uongozi wa East Africa Community.
The participation of all the invited groups at this consultative forum gives me much hope that all the objectives will be realized, and we believe that at the end of this process, we will be able to see increased coordination and coherence of the Nairobi process with the PDDRCs, the armed groups that are yet to cease hostilities, to honor their commitments to cease armed activities and to grant unhindered humanitarian access, and the full deployment and operationalization of the East African Regional Force. I want to urge all participants to this process, including those who are not yet here on the table with us, to give their support to this process that is vital towards the restoration of peace and stability in the Eastern DRC. And I look forward to opportunities that will enable the region to continue working closely to enhance and strengthen the bonds of purposeful friendship and strategic cooperation for the mutual benefit of all the citizens of East Africa. Wenzangu wa Kongo, mnajua hii sio mara ya kwanza tumekutana. Na nimewaambia sana hata vile tuliongea wakati tulikuwa Kinshasa. Na Father unakumbuka ya kwamba amani ipatikane, haitapatikana kutoka wengine. Itatokana kwenu nyinyi wenyewe. Nyinyi wenyewe mkubali ya kwamba nchi ni yenu na mnaitakia amani, na mnataka sasa majembe, vyombo vya kujenga manyumba, muweze kuhakikisha ya kwamba utajiri wa Kongo ni wa kuwasaidia, sio wa kumwaga damu zenu. Na nyinyi mjue hakuna mwingine ana huo uwezo wa kuleta amani ya kudumu isipokuwa nyinyi wenyewe. Yetu ni kuwasaidia, yetu ni kuwashika mkono, yetu ni kuwaombea, lakini jukumu kubwa itakuwa nyinyi wenyewe.
My government assures you, Your Excellency, and the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as the entire East African region and Africa at large, of Kenya's unwavering support and of our determination to stay this course together until the job is done. Mr. President, you are not alone, and I want you to let our brothers and sisters in the DRC to know that they are not alone. The inescapable tie of geography ties us together in the East Africa like Siamese twins. So long as DRC knows no peace, prospects for prosperity for the rest of EAC and Africa will remain dim and reversible. Instability and insecurity in the DRC will be relentless in undermining human development and holistic progress in and beyond the Great Lakes region. It is not only limiting the potential of our region in terms of trade and investment, but also denigrating the dignity of our people, causing suffering, displacement, and death. In a world of 8 billion people with unrelenting climate change threats, the people of Africa cannot afford to seek help from beyond before exhausting our own proprietary innovative solutions. African solutions are closer at hand given the scope of economic opportunities of 1 billion Africans and vast underexploited physical and human capital. The state of the world behoves us to pull together and pull ahead, the odds notwithstanding. This is why we have taken a decisive position as heads of state of the EAC to do everything possible to find a lasting peaceful solution to this conflict. And I dare say we will not relent. Kenya is firmly persuaded that our well-being and destinies as peoples and nations of this region are intimately and intensely interconnected. Our security, stability, and progress, therefore, is dependent on that of our region and indeed on the rest of the African continent. Consequently, the pursuit of peace and stability is not only desirable and beneficial, it is the inevitable precondition for socio-economic transformation and shared prosperity. Kenya thanks the East African Community Secretariat and the African Union for the commendable efforts made so far towards implementing the decision and directives of the 22nd Ordinary Summit of the EAC Heads of State. I also take this opportunity to strongly reiterate the call for EAC member states, our partners, and other stakeholders to act swiftly on respective commitments that we have been made. We emphasize that regional peace and security remains our collective enterprise. Specifically for Kenya, you may wish to know, and I'm telling this to my brothers from the DRC, you may wish to know that my predecessor, President Uhuru Kenyatta here, and myself were on different sides of the political contest 2 months ago. And the competition was stiff. But after the election, I met His Excellency the President. I looked at him in the eye and I told him, Mr. President, you have started a very important process in EAC. I would want you to continue that process. And he told me he was ready to do it. Despite all that had gone on, because of the interests of our nation, because of the interests of our region, because of the interests of our continent, and because peace is important to Kenya, to DRC, to our region, President Kenyatta has done a wonderful job as he facilitates this process. There is no greater demonstration of commitment from the EAC than the one that I have seen from the various heads of state of our region. Yesterday, when we met with the chair of our EAC, we decided to call all the other colleagues in this region, and all of them have set aside their schedules to be able to attend this meeting, even if virtually. It demonstrates the political goodwill that we have mobilized for the sake of peace in DRC, because peace in DRC is peace in our region. Peace in our region is peace in every part of our region and continent. For us, as leaders in this region, we take this assignment as an assignment of our lifetime, because our continent is ripe for the huge opportunities. This is the continent of our century, and we cannot afford to lose the opportunity of our lifetime at the altar of conflicts that we can resolve. And it is our commitment, because intra-Africa trade that holds the biggest opportunity for us to trade using the instruments we have already set up in the EAC, in COMESA, in SADC, and in the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. We have the greatest potential and the greatest opportunity to be able to increase trade and investment, so that we can raise it from the paltry 13 or 15% at the moment to where other regions in Asia, in Europe, in the Americas are at 60, 70%. Ladies and gentlemen, it will be the biggest shame for us if, while our brothers and sisters elsewhere in the globe are holding huge conferences in big tents to discuss investment and trade, and they are holding huge conferences in big conference halls to discuss trade and investment, our people are in tents as refugees and displaced persons. It will be an indictment on us, the leaders of this continent. It is important that we also appreciate with gratitude the role played by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta as he continues to play the role as chief facilitator of the Nairobi process. Mr. President, I salute your credentials as you champion peace in our region, and in particular with regards to the inter-Congolese consultative framework. These shared values of the foundation of the East African community also anchor the strong bonds of connecting the nations and people of our greater community. It is self-evident fact that our region is united by a common yearning for peace, hope for unity, quest for opportunity, and desire for shared prosperity. The people of Kenya are deeply invested in the destiny of our brothers and sisters throughout this region, and as a government, it is our duty to actualize their aspirations by participating in frameworks that enhance our collective prospects of peace, security, social, and economic progress. Kenya commends you, Your Excellency President Felix Tshisekedi, for your sustained dedication and commitment to peace and the determined effort you have invested in endeavors to find a lasting solution to the security situation in the Eastern DRC.
Kama wa Kongo.
For almost 3 decades now, the problem of insecurity and instability in Eastern DRC has festered and remained unresolved. This situation has negatively impacted our region, including the issue of hundreds of thousands of Congolese refugees who are unable to safely return to their homes, as well as impeding trade and investment with negative implications to the whole region. The primary reason for this persistent crisis is the failure to implement the many agreements that have been reached at various levels and at different times in past years. I most sincerely believe that this time around, these efforts are going to bear good results.
I commend Your Excellencies as the EAC heads of states for remaining steadfast toward ensuring implementation of the initiatives under the EAC-led Nairobi process, a fact that is unshared by various high-level engagements that have taken place since the integration of the Nairobi process into the EAC, but also for the financial commitment that you put into this process. And that is something we don't take for granted. And I want to assure you, as a Secretariat, we shall continue to support fully and be available to the facilitator. In a very special way, Your Excellency, allow also me to express gratitude to the facilitator of the process, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, for commitment and leadership towards fulfilling the momentous task that is given to him by Your Excellencies, members of the summit, and for dedicating time to undertake extensive consultations ahead of convening this meeting. Excellencies, I take this opportunity to also acknowledge partners who have supported this process, who have made it financially possible, and who have ensured the event takes place today. We applaud all the partner states, and particularly the government of Democratic Republic of Congo, for opening a space for dialogue among the Congolese in Eastern DRC through an inclusive process that guarantees sustainable peace and security. For brothers and sisters from Eastern DRC, your presence here to dialogue is a dividend of the fact that DRC is now a member of the EAC family.